think you'll ever be Queen?
No, I don't. No.
Why do you think that?
I'd like to be a queen of people's hearts, in people's hearts. But I don't see myself being queen of this country.
It's every girl's dream to grow up and become a princess. But sadly, not all of these fairy tales have a happy ending, and Diana's life is no exception. Her life has never been easy, even from the beginning, and living in a palace didn't change that. Keep watching to see all the new details on how Diana's life has always been tragic. Despite the large countryside house she lived in, her wealth, and her Lady Diana title, Diana had a pretty rough and lonely childhood. She was only 7 when her parents got a divorce, and her father won full custody of her and her siblings. Diana's mother had to give up on her children, which must be one of the hardest things to do. At first, she thought her mother was just gone on vacation, and her brother Charles Spencer revealed that Diana would sit on the doorstep waiting for her to come home every day. Diana later admitted she had been haunted by the crunch of the gravel as her mother departed. Gwilym Lee remembered. Her father was depressed, so raising kids was the least of his concerns. So he hired a bunch of nannies to do that for him. And this definitely troubled Diana from a young age. Imagine growing up without a mother or a father figure present. It was terribly disruptive to come back from school one day to find a new nanny, Diana recalled. She was damaged emotionally and mentally by her experiences. These troubles made an appearance in school as well. Diana always struggled to find her place in life. She felt like she wasn't good at anything and was even bothersome to her family. They always wanted a son and heir, so when Diana was born, they were pretty disappointed. Because of all this, Diana wasn't doing well in school, but surprisingly, she excelled in sports and dance. The only way for her to do what she loved most was to sneak down to the hall at night and practice ballet for hours. But sadly, just because she was 5'10", Diana wouldn't explore her passion for dancing any further. She tried exploring the option of becoming a dance teacher and even attended Vakani dance school, but that only lasted for a month. Her dream was dancing, not becoming a dance teacher. After finally finishing school, she was jumping through different jobs, starting as a cleaner and a nanny, and then continuing as a nursery assistant. She also took other jobs such as cleaning houses, serving at cocktail parties, and working as a kindergarten teacher. But Diana gave all of that up after she became part of the royal family, and one of the most talked about princesses to this day. This is where her life really went downhill. It all started with Diana marrying a guy she barely even knew. She met Prince Charles when she was only 16 and he was 29. Charles was dating Diana's sister at the time, but he switched his interest to Diana when he found out he and Sarah weren't compatible. However, their first opinions of each other were quite different.
And what did you think then? What was your instant impression, both of you? What did you think about Lady Diana?
Well, I remember thinking what a very jolly and amusing and attractive 16-year-old she was. And, I mean, great fun, and bouncy and full of life and everything. And I don't know what you thought of me.
Pretty amazing.
They started dating after a few years despite their 12-year age difference and only met 13 times before Charles proposed to her. How can you marry someone you've only seen 13 times? Obviously, it didn't take long before problems started appearing in their relationship. Even though it's early in the engagement when all couples are the happiest and most excited, but this was not the case with them. In an interview right after their engagement, the couple was asked if they were in love. The answer is not what everyone hoped it would be. Charles answered with whatever in love means.
And I suppose in love.
Of course.
Whatever in love means.
It didn't take long before Diana moved into Buckingham Palace and was forced into the spotlight. The world was obsessed with her, but they didn't really know what was going on behind the scenes. Surely every girl would want to be in her shoes, but living in that palace wasn't all fun. She mostly felt bored and alone, and would spend her days planning her wedding or taking dance and exercise classes. Finally, it was time for the wedding of the century, the one everyone had been waiting for. It took place in St. Paul's Cathedral on July 29th, 1981, just a few weeks after Diana turned 20. With 750 million watching them from all over the world, there must have been a lot of stress on Diana's shoulders. The wedding seemed like a fairy tale come to life. The dress, the venue, everything seemed perfect. But perfect is far from what awaited Diana. All of this change took a toll on Diana, and shortly after her engagement, she began struggling with an eating disorder. She had very low self-esteem and thought that she had little or no value or worth. She later opened up about her disorder, self-injury, and issues with self-esteem, calling them all symptoms of her marriage to Prince Charles. In an interview with BBC, she was asked about it.
The depression was resolved, as you say, but it was subsequently reported that you suffered bulimia. Is that true?
Yes, I did. I had bulimia for a number of years. And that's like a secret disease you inflicted upon yourself because your self-esteem is to low ebb and you don't think you're worthy or valuable. You fill your stomach up 4 or 5 times a day, some do it more, and it gives you a feeling of comfort. It's like having a pair of arms around you, but it's temporary. Then you're disgusted at the bloatedness of your stomach, and then you bring it all up again.
The thing about bulimia is your weight always stays the same, whereas with anorexia, you visibly shrink, so you can pretend the whole way through. There's no proof. Diana explained that this all started a week after they got engaged. When Charles put his hand around her waist and said, "Oh, a bit chubby here, aren't we?" That triggered something in her that led to her bulimia. Diana felt pressured to keep her marriage going, and since no one was hearing her cries for help, binging was her way of releasing all that stress. And in the end, there was a good outcome for her opening up about her disorder because it helped many other people get help for the same problem. The press called it the Diana effect. Princess Diana also became severely depressed and even attempted to kill herself 5 times. They were all cries for help, but no one really cared. And her only way to make her husband listen to her was to throw herself down the stairs when she was 4 months pregnant with William. She was crying uncontrollably, but he refused to listen to her. Charles's response was that she was crying wolf. And you're always doing this to me. I'm going riding now. I was the first person ever to be in this family who ever had depression or was ever openly tearful. It gave everybody a wonderful new label. Diana's unstable and Diana's mentally unbalanced. And unfortunately, that seems to have stuck on and off over the years, she said. If all of this wasn't enough, Charles's affair with Camilla Bowles was the tip of the iceberg. Charles dated Camilla for 6 months before he met Diana. He was discouraged from marrying her by his family, so he had to let go of her no matter how much he loved her. It's assumed that he never stopped loving her, and their affair returned sometime around 1989, and Diana was very well aware of it. There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded, she said in her BBC interview. She had confronted Camilla about the affair, while Camilla pretended she knew nothing about it. "I'd just like you to know that I know exactly what is going on," Diana said. To which Camilla replied, "You've got everything you've ever wanted. All the men in the world fall in love with you." So she asked Diana, what more could she really want? Diana answered with, "My husband." Diana had been jealous of Charles's and Camilla's relationship way before they even got married. But when Diana told her sisters that she didn't want to go through with the marriage, they told her she had no other choice, so she was stuck in this prison for years. If Charles had the option of having an affair and being happy with another woman, why couldn't Diana do the same? It was no shock that Diana fell right into the arms of her security guard, Barry Manicky, which she described as the greatest love she had ever experienced, and with whom she was deeply in love. Diana was even willing to give up her royal life and run away with him, but soon enough, Barry was fired and then died in a motorcycle accident a year later. Was this really just an accident, or did the royal family have something to do with it? Either way, Diana never seemed to find happiness as long as she was under Buckingham's roof. She had nothing in common with her husband. They weren't happy. Charles was having an affair, and Diana was the only one suffering from all of it. So she finally decided to put an end to it. Ending a marriage is never an easy decision, especially when you're in the eye of the whole world, literally. So Diana and Charles finally separated in 1992, with their divorce following in 1996. Money-wise, Diana came out of the marriage with a large amount of money. She was given an annual stipend of $625,000 and a lump sum of $26 million, but she lost everything else, starting with her title as Her Royal Highness, which Charles insisted that she give up, which meant she had to curtsy to other people with that title, including Charles and her 2 sons, Harry and William. Diana also lost her staff and her office. Her protection and security were drastically reduced, which meant she was only protected during public events, and otherwise was at the whim of danger at any other time. She was also unable to support all the charities she had committed to when she was married to Charles. Diana had the attention of the whole world, but that had its own challenges. Because of how popular she was, Diana was constantly being harassed by the paparazzi wherever she went, and even became the most photographed woman in the world. Sadly, running away from all the invasive paparazzi would soon turn out to be the reason behind her death. Princess Diana was seeing Ahmad Dodi Fayed, an Egyptian billionaire, around August of 1997, and they were seen vacationing together in the French Riviera for 10 days before heading off to Paris together. Diana was in the car with the driver, Imad, and her bodyguard. Her driver, who had been drinking, tried to avoid all the photographers that hounded each of Diana's moves, so he was driving the car twice the allowed speed when they were entering the Pont de l'Alma tunnel. He lost control of the car and eventually crashed into the wall of the tunnel. Diana was still alive when the emergency services came, but she had suffered a bunch of injuries, including a concussion, broken bones, and severe chest wounds. The latter was what eventually became the reason behind her death, a death that shocked the whole world. Diana had been scared for her safety for a while before the accident happened. She'd had a car problem before, and she believed someone was out to get her. Even a letter that is assumed that Diana wrote said, "This particular phase of my life is the most dangerous. My husband is planning an accident in my car, brake failure, and serious head injury in order to make the path clear for Charles to marry." There are plenty of theories behind her death, but in the end, none of that matters. What matters is that the world lost Princess Diana way too early, and she will forever be missed. She thought getting into a royal marriage would give her a happy ending, but instead, it just made her whole life tragic. Sadly, Diana's fate was written for her the moment she agreed to marry Charles, and she lived her last years a little bit happier. And if you liked this video, make sure you watch this one.